Hello, good afternoon. This is the Midday News. The bulletin is live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra. In Kumasi, it's live on Love 99.5 FM and affiliates across Ghana, including Kaleo FM in Akachi, A1 Radio in Bogatanga, and ATL FM in Cape Coast. You can also download the My Joy Online app from Play Store and App Store to listen live on the internet. We're also live on Facebook. In this edition, Lands Ministry says recent ban on mining in forest reserves and water bodies making an impact as the majority of miners in the Ashanti and Western North regions have removed their equipment.
The devastation that has occurred here with this particular forest reserve, there has been no application for any prospecting or reconnaissance whatsoever. So what you see here was a total blatant illegality.
Meanwhile, University of Mines and Technology invent new technology to clean polluted water bodies.
In our test, you realize that when you have dirty water, even at a mud level of about 500 ml, just by adding small quantities of these chemicals, within 5 minutes, all the suspended solids are dropped.
Also in this package, Ghana prepares to begin second round of COVID-19 vaccinations after receiving 350,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccines under the COVAX platform.
We've taken delivery of those so we can start with the second dose of vaccination for those who started, and we are still hoping that very soon we'll be able to get more.
High Court acquits and discharges Boko Central MP Mahama Ayarigo of charges of using public office for profit leveled against him by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Meanwhile, former Kokobot CEO Dr. Puni has been ordered by an Accra High Court to open his defense. We have details in sports.
GFA boss Ketty Okreko is confident of no hiccups as National Juvenile League begins this weekend.
And later in showbiz,
you have no business protecting or providing.
I'll tell you about the latest hit dropped by Kiddy titled Touch It. You want to stay for details of that and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. This is your home of bold and fearless journalism. Thanks for your company. In our very first story, the Lands Ministry is excited about the immediate gains in the government's ban on mining in forest reserves and water bodies. The majority of miners in the Ashanti and Western North regions have removed the equipment from the reserves as per the directives that took effect less than a week ago. We can listen to my colleague Ohiming Teria, who has been touring with a team led by the Deputy Lands and Natural Resources Minister designate Benito Owusubio.
Until the ban, the Oda Reserve, Subin Shelter Belt, Tanofin, among other forests in the Ashanti region, were home to illegal mining activities. Water bodies such as Subin, Ofin, and Pra have had their share of the devastation. The Afao Hills and Anyaso East reserves in the Western North region also had their share, as earth-moving equipment struck deep in the belly of the earth. The Akasu and Subin streams are all destroyed by heavily armed and powerfully connected illegal miners who battle forestry officials. Several hectares of virgin forest with economic viable species are destroyed.
Most of the cocoa farms, they've destroyed them. Look, if you look over there, you see the cocoa farms.
Deputy Minister Designate for Lands, Benito Owusubio, is shocked at the destruction in the forest reserves.
The devastation that has occurred here with this particular forest reserve, there has been no application for any prospecting or reconnaissance whatsoever. So what you see here was a total blatant illegality. And look at the level of destruction. See the number of forest trees that they have destroyed. Very good economic tree. They've destroyed them all.
With the ban on mining in forest reserves, many of the havoc-wreaking equipment have been evacuated. Excavators have been evacuated from Oda, Subin Shelter, Bosomtwe, Anyaso East, Tanofin and Afao Hills reserves in Ashanti and Western North regions. Though few recalcitrant miners remain on site, Benito Owusubio is happy with the rate of compliance.
Since we came, even on the road, we all saw some are pulling their equipment out of the forest.
President of the National House of Chiefs, Ojia Ohoya JB II, shared similar sentiment.
I saw several excavators on the Nyinahini Bibiani stretch. The ban is already yielding positive results. You should intensify the fight because you have our support.
The Forestry Commission has had it tough, warding off illegal miners from forest reserves. Its Chief Executive John Alote says it is too early to celebrate.
It's too early to see that. We've seen some movements outside. This is not the first time directives have been given. This is not the first time maybe military have moved in. This is not the first time we've seen equipment being moved out. But the most important thing is to be able to maintain that side so that we are sure that no equipment move back to the forest.
He is concerned the evacuated excavators sit at the fringes of the forest reserves. As a first step, Mr. Alote wants district forest managers to be on high alert over attempts by recalcitrant miners to re-enter the forest.
Most of the equipment have been moved from the forest reserve, but they are just few meters away from the forest reserve. Chances are that they could move in the evening and work. They are too close for comfort. What we are going to do is to present a report to our minister in terms of enforcement.
From Kumasi, for Joy News, Oime Interior reporting.
We'll stay a while longer on the sector because officials from the University of Mines and Technology, led by the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Richard Kwesi Amankwa, have demonstrated to the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources a technology designed to clean water bodies polluted due to activities of illegal mining. My colleague, Kwesi Parker-Wilson, was there. He will join us shortly, but let's listen to the Vice-Chancellor.
We used about 5 different chemicals: additive A, additive P, additive Q, and several others. 3 of them came out very strongly. So in our test, you realize that when you have dirty water, even at a mud level of about 500 ml, just by adding small quantities of these chemicals, for additive A, you drop it and within 5 minutes, all the suspended solids have dropped. For additive P, you have the same reaction, though A happens to be stronger than P. Then we have additive Q, which gave some amount of settling, but not good enough to the level where we wanted. So we realized that by using additive A and P, to a large extent, we can get a good job done in settling the suspended salts.
That's the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Richard Kwesi Amankwa of the University of Mines and Technology. Kwesi Parker-Wilson joins us. He was at that presentation. So, Parker, with the use of these chemicals to clean our polluted bodies, would it be safe for drinking after this cleanup exercise?
The Vice-Chancellor, it would be safe for drinking because they've already tested it. In fact, the illustration of the testing was done on the Pra River, where they traced the source and ensure that they apply the number of quantity they need to clean the water body. So after that, they realized that it would be safe for drinking and also even for bathing as well.
Do we know what the response of the ministry has been and whether it will be deployed soon?
Right, so thankfully we have the minister designate for the lands and natural resources, deputy designate, Mekuduka, who was at the meeting and who was very hopeful. But let me just quickly ask him, how soon should we expect the implementation of this technology to clean our water bodies, sir?
Yes, I believe the Minister, Honorable Samuel Abujinapo, has directed that we work closely with the University of Mines and Technology to bring finality to this new concept. So we're hoping that by the end of June, we will see some prospects. That is assurance given to us by the able professor. And we're so excited about it. We're embarking on the silting, dredging. As I speak with you, Pra is free from mining because there's no mining activity ongoing on a river Pra. So that is an excitement, sort of. And we, as I indicated at the meeting, we're also going to apply this river gap. We'll be protecting the river body after application of this technology.
And finally, for me, there are fears by the Vice Chancellor that it may not work if activities of illegal mining are continuing. I know there's a fight ongoing. How confident are we that you're going to deal with the activities and also ensure that we clean up the water?
Yes, and that is why I specifically indicated that the minister has directed to sanction the river gas immediately. So we're working on it, and very soon they will start work to protect our river. PRA is protected, and next modus operandi, I may not be able to declare it on this platform, but we're going to make sure we clear all our river bodies and make sure this technology works.
So, MFR, there you have it, the Deputy Minister designate for lands and natural resources. And it's expectation that by June, we will see some significant improvement in regards to water bodies.
Thank you very much, Kwesi Parker Wilson. Then Ghana has begun preparations to administer the second doses of COVID-19 vaccines to persons who took their first AstraZeneca jabs in March. The country took delivery of 350,000 doses of the vaccines today. Head of our health desk, First Smith, was at the Kotoka International Airport when officials from the Ministry of Health, UNICEF, and the FDA took delivery of the consignment.
The Ghana Health Service vans have taken the custody of it. They've taken them to the Ghana Health Service storage facility, I'm told at Kolebu, and that's where distribution to the various regions where the vaccinations will be done will take place. Officials tell us 350,000 of them. It is our share of 1.3 million that the COVAX platform is redistributing.
So that's the head of our health desk, Fred Smith, there earlier at the Kotoka International Airport. I'll take you to the courts now, where Boko Central MP Mahama Ayariga is today a free man, and Accra High Court has acquitted and discharged him of charges including use of public office for private gain leveled against him by the Office of Special Prosecutor. Ms. Ayariga's role in the purchase of an ambulance for the Boko Municipal Assembly is the first and only case that was filed by then Special Prosecutor Martin Amidu shortly after she took office. Ms. Ayariga insisted there was no case against him. Well, this view has today been upheld. Court correspondent Joseph Akable joins me in studio with more on this. Joseph, what specifically was the state's case against the legislator?
He is alleged to have instigated and encouraged the purchase of an ambulance for the Boko Municipal Assembly without following the procedure provided for in the Public Procurement Act. He was also alleged to have used various public funds to pay for the ambulance, yet misrepresented that he used his personal resources. And so he pleaded not guilty to the charges. His lawyers, shortly after the state had finished calling witnesses to testify, urged the court to acquit and discharge him. They argued that no evidence had been led to show how he undertook these allegations of the instigation and that led to the breach of the procurement law. They therefore concluded that he should be acquitted and discharged, a position that has been upheld in the court presided over by Justice Efia Asari-Botwe.
And I'm sure the legislator has been welcoming this. So what has been his reaction? We'll be speaking to him, but I'm sure you've been working with his people. But of course, thankfully, we have his lawyer on the phone, Eduji Kojo Tamaklo. We're grateful for your time here on the Midday News. Satisfied with the outcome, I presume?
Yes, MFR. And so good afternoon to you and your listeners. We are satisfied.
You had earlier indicated a possible action of malicious prosecution against the state and the OSP for that matter. Are you going to go ahead with that?
I've not received any instruction from my client in relation to that, but we are pleased with today's outcome. Yeah.
And your client had always upheld that there was no case against him. It appears that the court upheld that view?
Yes, and quite clearly, the letter the judge read in open court and the conclusion, it was quite clear that this trial should not have even started in the first place. But in all things, we give thanks to the Almighty God.
Well, Eduji, we're grateful for your time. That's lawyer for Mahama Ayariga, Boko Central MP, the Eduji Kojo Tamaklo. I will stay in the courts. Joseph is still with me because former Kokobot CEO Dr. Stephen Kwabnopuni has been ordered by an Accra High Court to open his defense since the state has successfully led evidence requiring his response in an alleged 217 million cedi financial loss case. He has been standing trial since 2017 on allegations that he aided businessman Saidu Wagongo to defraud the state of millions of cedis. The state closed its case, and Dr. Opuni stated that no evidence has been led in support of the allegations to merit his response. The court, presided by Justice Clemens Wanyanuga, disagreed and has ordered that he opens his defense. Joseph is still with me. What reasons did Justice Wanyanuga give for his conclusion?
He said he's convinced that out of the 27 charges leveled against the accused persons, that is first Dr. Stephen Opuni and businessman Seidu Agongo, the company Agriculture is also one of the accused persons named in this particular case at the court. He said the state has successfully proved that they have a case to answer for 24 of the 27 charges. And so for 3 of the charges, he said they've not proved that there is a case meriting a response from them. And so the case has been adjourned to May 17 for them to open their defense. But Justice Wanyanuga, who is currently a Supreme Court judge, when he actually started hearing the case, it was a Court of Appeal judge. So it has taken 3 years. He was concerned about the pace of the case and indicated that he is determined to ensure that they finish with it immediately so that he can concentrate on his duties as a Supreme Court judge.
Okay, Joseph, thank you. We'll stay on matters related to law, and we should be very slow to prevent people from demonstrating. That's the call from private legal practitioner Martin Pebu, who has criticized government for not allowing campaigners of Fix the Country protest to go ahead with planned demonstration. The police, who had earlier invited the campaigners for a meeting yesterday, sought a High Court injunction against a planned march. The move has been described by some lawyers as strange. We'll hear from them shortly, but first, here's a wrap of how the social media protest evolved over the week.
The hashtag was Fix the Country, and then other people started pulling out pictures from their communities, and they also started posting it along. And in the end, we had over 450,000 tweets. We were trending worldwide, #1.
Joshua Boydo, one of many social media users who set the hashtag in motion.
And so the job is done. I don't feel like a hero because the hashtag can die in the moment, and then we'll be back to zero. So I want to see results.
It became a full-blown agitation for better standards of living. Hike in fuel prices, unstable power and water supply, among a litany of other social challenges, were labelled as problems government was required to fix. Fix yourself became an almost immediate counter hashtag. A tweet by Nsawam Edwejiri MP Frank Anodompre incurred the wrath of the protesting social media users. He tweeted, quote, "Take notice of these two," unquote, alongside a photograph that had the following statements. "Fix the country, Jimie. You don't pay your taxes, you politicize every good policy." He has since apologized, adding that he understands the concerns of the campaigners.
I think it's a question of time. I'm very confident that all of us, and here I'm not putting responsibility on any minister, I think that all of us in position of influence, all of us have a role to play to ensure that as a country we come atop this concern and deal with it.
That did not end the counter hashtags. Nana is fixing it, and Let's Fix Ghana Together popped up as the governing MPP's officials joined the discussion to defend the government's record and commitment to dealing with the matter.
The Akufo-Addo government has on no occasion turned its back towards fixing the problems of our nation.
The social media protest took a different twist as the Ghana Police Service was notified of a street march slated for May 9th. The police service, however, said it is unable to provide protection, adding COVID-19 restrictions remained in force.
They were informed of our inability to give them the necessary protection until such a time that the restrictions are lifted.
The protesters fired back, saying they will not back down.
We know of no law that prohibits us from doing so.
A high-powered government delegation comprising national security, defense, and interior and justice ministers met the protesters yesterday. But while the meeting was ongoing,
tonight, police secure restraining order stopping Fix the Country protesters from embarking on a planned protest this Sunday.
The police secured an injunction to stop the May 9th march. However, the protesters say they will push to have this court order set aside.
This court order will not prevent us from exercising our right, and therefore we would seek to set aside this court order by appealing to the same judicial process that the police has used.
News desk report put together by Joy News editor Arba Kumsin. Meanwhile, private legal practitioner Samson Ladia Nyenene has described the ex-party injunction granted by High Court Judge Justice Ruby Ayete as strange. Martin Pebu agrees. He's also asking government to allow the protest to go ahead in the same manner other protests were allowed under other administrations.
They can restrict the number of the demonstrators, and then there will be social distancing. Let people demonstrate. It's cathartic, When people are bottled up, they need a channel to let out the steam. When they finish demonstrating, then they are happy that, okay, at least we've had our say. I remember in 99, the Mobra struggle. Yeah, we went up to the Usu Castle, and then eventually the police beat us up and everything. But at the end of the day, we're happy that we had made our point. So as for demonstrations, practically, look, we should be very slow to stop people from demonstrating.
We can also hear from political marketing expert Dr. Kobi Mensah, who says the posture of the government and the New Patriotic Party to the social media protests has been surprising, arguing government's response has been uncoordinated.
They're all uncoordinated because they keep, saying different things at different times. And along the line, you even have a feeling that, some of them have actually shown remorse on what some of the things that they said. There was a counter position that even the Fix Yourself was not actually officially sanctioned. And so they're actually backtracking on that and then trying to say that we are fixing it, which they have actually issued a different, kind of hashtag. Whatever the case is, definitely the administration is listening, the officials are listening, and you would expect that, a party that actually prides itself with that kind of managerial approach to doing things would have actually responded in a very coordinated manner that people will be satisfied. But we haven't heard anything from them.
Well, the push to fix the country continues, and social media users have been naming and shaming leaders in their communities for failing to address pertinent concerns. It's trending at #1. And Joy News editor Fred Smith joins me in studio with some of what you've been saying. Fred, walk us through the sentiments being expressed.
Well, persons who are adding or contributing to this post are all sharing videos or photos of the situations they are talking about. So the first one, for instance, comes with a road which looks to me very it's untarred, and the message that comes with it: this road is from Amasaman, Ashalaja, Kaswa. This was completed days before the 2016 election. The road got destroyed before the 2020 election. The MP at Ashalaja, Domiabra Ubom constituency, is Sophia Akwoku. She comes here during election time to share kinky. Another one here, it says, is from Farrell GH. This is Techiman, where both the MPP and NDC were fighting, and they were fighting to win the majority. Look at our roads, and they show roads in a very bad shape, very dusty. Another one here says, this is a poor road at Obeye Amasaman constituency, but they prefer plotting a very nice 2024 campaign signboard just for directions, Keke. And another bad road indicated there.
I see one here as well. It says, this is my MP, Frank Anodompre. He's been in office for 3 terms and has not even completed just a single toilet facility in Saoma Dwedri constituency. Bra MP, Aiko, where's the $1 million allocated for the constituency? I can't wait to meet you one-on-one. But since I have you here, Fred, you've been at the Kotoka International Airport the whole morning, receiving 350,000 AstraZeneca second doses. Do we know when the rollout will begin?
Well, the Ghana Health Service has immediately taken custody of it, and they are planning how to roll it out. Nearly 850,000 people took the first jabs, and so we need to give the same number of people second jabs, but we don't have 850 vaccines or doses for them, and so the 350 would have to be shared among a certain group, which would leave us with 500,000 persons who would also have to now wait for some more vaccines to come before they get inoculated.
Thank you very much, Fred Smith. He's the head of our health desk here and Joy News editor. This is the Midday News, and Lands Ministry says recent ban on mining in forest reserves and water bodies beginning to make an impact, as majority of miners in the Ashanti and Western North regions have removed their equipment. We've also been hearing about the preparation so far to roll out the 350,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccines that were received today. Later in the bulletin, Afro-pop hitmaker Kiddy drops a new track titled Touch It.
Pretty girl, come wine pon the cocky. Touch it, touch it, touch it.
First time I started working on it, I was like, this is very different. People are never going to expect this.
This bulletin is live in the Volta region on Jubilee Radio Keta, Volta Premier and Kekali Radio in Ho, Lolonyo FM in Hohoi, Pando FM in Pando, Fafa Radio in Joje, Radio Hogba in Angloga, Klenam Radio Bato, Victory FM Aplao. In the Eastern region, we're on K-Poly Radio in Kofrodia. In the Northern region, we're on Bishara Radio, Radio 123 and Radio Justice in Tamale. And in Savannah region, we're on Inkelege FM in Bole. In the Upper East region, we're live on A1 Radio and Dreams FM in Bogatanga and Radio Fumbese in Fumbese. In Upper West, we're live on Radio Sonmale in Wa, Radio Freed in Nandom, Radio Wa in Wa, and Bolu FM in Bolu. In the Bono East region, we're on Gaskia FM in Techiman. In Bono region, we're on Sky FM and Parrot FM in Sunyai. Central region, we're live on ATL FM in Cape Coast. And in the Western region, we're on Radio Max in Takrady.
This is the Midday News. You're on Joy 99.7 FM. It's time for sports, and Mubarak is here.
Yes, MFI, is your daughter into football?
No, basketball.
Oh, but why not football?
Oh, she'll struggle to get pad and her bonuses.
Because the opportunity has come. The National Juvenile League will kick off across the country this weekend. There has been so many disruption at the grassroots level, from Anas Armiao Anas's investigative piece in 2018 to the death of 8 young footballers in Offenso last year. GFA boss Keto Kreko is promising a successful league.
It's been long in coming, and it's not only about my good self. The kids have been waiting over months, over years for this day. And if it is that we are not doing well at the youth level in recent times, it is because we've not placed too much emphasis on juvenile football, and it is that time that we have to put in a lot more energy. Games are going to take place at what we call the game centers. Games are going to take place behind closed doors. Games are going to take place in very secured facilities across the country. As much as humanly possible, we want to ensure that the footages, the pictures from our games are clean and of quality.
Okay, so that's GFA boss Keto Kreko expressing his optimism ahead of the Juvenile League football return.
Okay, I pray we pay attention
what
to
what you said of radio. Ket has heard you.
I pray he does. It's time for us to head to the Dumasa area.
About a week ago, some men started demolishing the structure. They claimed it was the directive of the chief. I was very troubled when I heard this because the kids will have nowhere to study.
You hear the sound of a frustrated parent after a school building in Dumasa at a Santidra Bing where his child lands was demolished, allegedly on the orders of the chief there. Children in kindergarten returned from midterm with no space to learn, compelling management of a Dumasa RC primary school to suspend classes. Head of the Breto clan of Dumasa, Nana Jeche Amponsa, who led the demolition, claims he acted on the instructions of the chief. Love FM's Irasa Sasaridonko visited the school. Here's his report.
After a rainstorm ripped off the roof, school authorities were compelled to build this temporary structure to house the children. But when school reopened, the structure had been demolished. The room, which contains learning materials, had its roof ripped off, destroying some of the items. The chief of Edumasa, Nanayao Opon, admits he has plans to use the land to build a palace. He, however, says he did not instruct the demolition of the school structure. This, however, contradicts the stance of the head of the Breto clan of Edumasa, who supervised the demolition. Nana Jeche Amponsa says he was ordered by the Edumasa chief to pull down the structure.
The community contributed to build a place for the kids when their numbers increased. Recently, the chief informed me that the roof has been ripped off, and he has informed the district assembly, who has given him the nod to demolish the structure because of developed cracks. So the chief paid the carpenters. I only took care of the materials.
Irato Cesare don't cope with that report, and she was in pain throughout. She would not talk to anyone except my dad, and she was super hyper. These are some details you've been sharing with us on how your mother had you for promo ahead of Mother's Day on Sunday. Hashtag How Mama Had Me promo has received several letters from children. Here are some of them.
After a regular dinner of rice and groundnut soup, Mama began to feel strange pains. Daddy drove her from Latebiokoshi to 37 Bond style. It was time to push. Push! Push! Mama was spent and she had been throwing up with every push, so clearly part of her energy was now wasted on the floor. An older, experienced midwife looked at her. Hey, if you don't push, your baby will die. Oh. Hey, die? You lie bad. Mama gathered strength and she didn't know she even had. And she pushed! At exactly 11:40, the angelic ring of her baby's cry, Mama's miracle was here.
Well, what exactly will the winning mothers be treated to? Take it away, Edem Naite.
Sunday, 9th May 2021, we're actually crowning our How Mama Had Me promotion. So we have heard the stories, we have read them on air. We're going to reward the winners on Sunday. We're going to have Empress Ifti perform for us in the studio. Rhyme Sonny will be there to do different poems for Mama. Sammy Forson is going to be dishing out some very danceable tunes for Mama at home. What's beautiful is that even you at home could win a special package for your mama.
And it's starting on Sunday between 12 and 2 p.m. Happy Mother's Day in advance. And Mapitso Sabidi is here on a Friday. We have a new song.
We are touching it ahead of his forthcoming second LP studio project dubbed The Golden Boy. Kiddy has released this track.
Touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it. Shut up.
First time I started working on, I was like, this is very different. People are never going to expect this, but yes, the right time to give them. So
did you produce that as well?
I produced that. It started from me listening to musical youth. Pass the dirty pony.
Are you serious?
I was listening to that song and I was like, this is a perfect song to sample, but I'm going to sample it and make a brand new today record. So I put the dancehall reggaeton vibe in it. And the vibes kept flowing. That's what
Pass the dirty pony left hand.
Pass the dirty pony left hand side. Pass the dirty pony left. So pass me the dirty. Pretty girl, come wine pon the
Gaga. Yeah.
And that's it for the Midday News. Touch it. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com stories. You've been reading Mahama Yaranga quitted Opuni ordered to open his defense for charge for violating restrictions on public gathering at Christ Embassy Pneumatica Night. We also have the youth of Ghana are dissatisfied. Dr. Kofi Amwa. And let's be hungry for excellence. Part 3 with Pastor Menselteville. Up next, I am MFA Poe. Enjoy your weekend.
Hello, please, am I speaking to Miss Joanna Kuma?
Yes, please.
My name is Philip and I'm calling from MTN. Someone has just sent you money and we will need you to enter your PIN number so that we can put the money in your account.
Hey,
oh dada, MTN will never ask you for your PIN. Never reveal your PIN to anyone under any circumstances. And if you are not sure, always check the number. MTN will only call you with a dedicated number, 0244 300,000. Stay safe, stay vigilant. We are good together everywhere you go.
The 5th Ghana CEO Summit is here again, the foremost business conference for topmost CEOs.